Just days ago, Pakistan was celebrating. After months of desperate negotiations, they had finally secured a $1.2 billion lifeline from the International Monetary Fund, pulling the country back from the edge of total financial collapse. But the relief barely lasted a week. Almost immediately after the IMF funds were approved, Beijing delivered an urgent, aggressive diplomatic note to Islamabad. The demand was explicit: hand over $220 million right now. This visualization compares the scale of the two economies to show the true nature of the demand. Next to the multi-trillion-dollar block representing China's GDP, that $220 million debt is a microscopic sliver. It is essentially a rounding error for Beijing. Beijing's decision to exert high-level pressure over a rounding error transforms this corporate debt into a calculated diplomatic message to the Pakistani leadership. The message triggered immediate panic in Islamabad. Despite suffering a recent shoulder fracture, Pakistan's deputy prime minister rushed onto a plane and sped into Beijing to plead for more time. Desperate to appease their creditor, Pakistan scrambled to demonstrate loyalty. They quickly worked to jointly release a new 5-point peace plan with China, hoping to project the image of a unified, cooperative front. The effort fell flat. The international community entirely ignored the proposal, and global media barely registered its existence. This frantic reaction exposes a harsh reality. The historic narrative of an equal, unshakable Iron Brotherhood is fracturing, and China is using its financial leverage to strip away the illusion. To find the source of this $220 million debt, we have to look past the political maneuvering in the capital and examine the physical assets buried in the ground. In 2011, a Chinese entity bought out British Petroleum's operations in the region and created United Energy Pakistan, or UEP. Today, it stands as the largest foreign oil and gas exploration company operating in the country. This creates a highly lucrative loop. UEP extracts hundreds of millions of cubic feet of gas directly from Pakistani soil every single day, and then turns around and sells that exact same domestic gas back to Pakistan at a premium. Through UEP, Beijing has effectively bypassed standard import-export barriers. They are positioned inside Pakistan's borders, controlling and profiting from the country's most critical domestic energy resources. This diagram maps out a systemic failure known as the circular debt challenge, showing exactly why UEP isn't getting paid. It starts here as UEP extracts the raw gas. By law, UEP cannot sell directly to the public. They must pipe this gas to the state-owned distributor, the Sui Southern Gas Company, or SSGC. SSGC then distributes the energy out to households, state-run steel mills, and power companies. The failure begins when a massive portion of these end users simply refuse to pay their gas bills. To make matters worse, the Pakistani government starves its own distributor. The Federal Board of Revenue owes massive tax refunds to SSGC, but refuses to release the funds, locking the money away because the state treasury is empty. Caught between non-paying customers and a government hoarding its tax credits, SSGC is bankrupted. When the bill comes from the Chinese producers, the payment line fails entirely. Pakistan's own staggering bureaucratic incompetence built this trap. They created a supply chain guaranteed to fail, handing Beijing an airtight, legally justified mechanism to declare them in default whenever it suits Chinese interests. So why is China choosing this exact moment of extreme vulnerability to punish its iron brother? Under General Asim Munir, the Pakistani military is pursuing a renewed partnership with Washington, marked by high-level visits and joint strategic planning. Beijing's defense circles view this alignment with growing suspicion, specifically regarding new intelligence sharing agreements and discussions of incoming American energy deals. This cooperation raises the risk that sensitive Chinese defense systems supplied to Pakistan over the last decade will be exposed and studied by American military technicians. By attempting to secure American patronage, Pakistan has directly compromised the security of China's most guarded military technology. Islamabad is even beginning to align with U.S. regional interests concerning Iran, signaling a clear shift away from Beijing's geopolitical sphere. Beijing is weaponizing the EUP debt to clearly signal that Pakistan's financial autonomy is non-existent without Chinese support. If Pakistan continues to test these boundaries, China won't just ask for corporate dues. Beijing holds billions of dollars in large bilateral loans. If they simply decline to roll those loans over, Pakistan will default immediately. The $1.2 billion IMF lifeline they fought so hard to secure would evaporate instantly against a coordinated financial withdrawal by the Chinese state. While Islamabad flirts with Washington, Beijing maintains the authority to stop rolling over the massive bilateral loans that keep the Pakistani economy from immediate collapse.